The next is exporters' commitments. Export commitments. The exporter undertakes that the preliminary determination of the sales price. If the export enterprise undertakes the preliminary determination of the sales price, and the injuries will lead to the imposition of provisional anti-dumping duties by the importing country. If the importing countries undertakes to take some actions to eliminate the injurious effects of the dumping, and the anti-dumping investigation of the importing countries may be discontinued by the authority. And in China, the foreign trade and anti-dumping in today's tariff gradually reduce the use of anti-dumpings. The World Trade Organization recognized and licensed the legal means to protect domestic industries and markets. This has been used by more and more countries along the complexity. It becomes a powerful tool for some countries to a new round of trade protections. Since in China's accessions to the WTO, the rapid development of foreign trade, and so for the first time in 2009, China is more than Germany as world greatest exporter, such as high-speed development inevitably brought a certain amount of pressures to the foreign competitors. The trade frictions increasing, and some countries use anti-dumping laws to our country export commodities filed anti-dumping charges. The anti-dumping problems become very serious. So China is the number one victim of the trade protectionism. So in the 1979, European Union investigate the Chinese first exporting saccharin and salts, the anti-dumping investigation. And after that, the Chinese enterprises suffered a lot. The foreign firms and even governments investigation on anti-dumping behavior, and it suffers the cases of suffered anti-dumping cases dramatically increased. And in 2017, China totally suffered 21 countries or regions investigation on the tax relief, on the trade relief and 70 and totally 75 cases from the 21 countries or areas, totally 75 cases that amounted to about 110 11 billion US dollar. And China has suffered anti-dumping investigation for 23 years continuously. From the over global investigation, that China becomes the most investigated country on these anti-dumping cases. Facing this harsh situation of the rising trade protectionism and anti-dumping actions against China, how should the Chinese government and enterprise realize and how to react? So the China's overall level of opening up is still relatively low, and it's fashionable for Chinese enterprise to open to its international markets. So in most cases, our products only just start to step out. And how to firmly occupy the market and meet the needs of the diversity, and how to create a new demand in the overseas markets and guide the consumption fashions, and are still the problem to be studied in the future. And at the same time, the time should be seen. And a country's exporting policy should is the industrial policy behind the exporting policy. The industrial policy is relying on the technology policies, and without the technological innovation and products innovation, the exporting trade will not be any new investment or new fundings. So that's why all the government should have a lot of to do, and the government should do, rather than to guide others, it should be set principles to themselves, and to broaden the channels and the utilization of all means to investigate all those enterprises involved in the cases under study, and use all those strengths together in a coordinated way to get that cases resolved, and to find technology and information and legal aids or assistance. So for the most of Chinese enterprises, as long as the products into the international market is likely to undercount the other side of the anti-dumping the legitimations. Therefore, it must be to prevent before it happens. First is to get familiar with and adapt to the environment and atmosphere of this as soon as possible. And to understand, master the legal procedures and contents of anti-dumping and be good at grasping the key points and the key of handling and resolving those cases. Even if we can't do it at the beginning, you should at least able to deal with it such as systematically information about the cost, price parameters, and data of export products. And secondly, the typical cases should be analyzed and studied. Not to mention the typical international cases. And China has encountered hundreds of cases in recent years, which is also a huge fortune for our enterprises. It must carry on the thorough analysis and research, summarize the experience, draws the lessons. We shall really make clear where we loses and where we win in all those cases. And on this basis, we should make most of our strengths and avoid our weaknesses to take the initiative. And lastly, in a serious link such as technological innovation, products manufacturing and price setting, exports, polling, and our advertising and promotion. And after sales service, we should make anti-dumping arrangements to eliminate the hidden dangers and get rid of the difficulties. And even if the situation of anti-dumping against China is quite serious, we should firmly believe the basic principles. The trade organization and the leading trend actively promoted by the WTO is opening to the outside world and trade freedom. It's a result of China's adherence to and implement of the principles of the WTO, that China has been able to go out of in such a big way that participated in the process of economic globalization. However, the anti-dumping is against the basic principle of the World Trade WTO and is not the mainstream. The keynote of the new round of the negotiation is still to promote and to boost the trade freedom.